People are looking to bring the NDP to Quebec. Projet Montreal is looking for a new leader, and you don't want to know where Trump's been looking. It's time for another podcast. Not quite live from Forget the Box Studios in Montreal. This is the FTB Podcast, the only podcast you're listening to right now. Welcome to the podcast. It is Sunday evening, October the 16th, when we're recording this. Almost Halloween. A lot of scary stuff happening in politics and in the world. I'm your host, Jason C. McLean. Let's meet our panel.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Zoubris. I'm VP of Projet Montréal. I'm also a VP with the Merchants Association of Malden. I'm a store owner on Park Avenue, and it's great to be here.
Hi, I'm Mirna Djukic, and I'm a contributor at Forget a Box.
And as we approach an election in the U.S., some people are looking ahead to the next election in Quebec. In particular, the people behind the new Quebec NDP. Mirna Djukic has this report.
After 10 years of absence, the new Democratic Party is re-entering Quebec's provincial scene. Interim leader Pierre Djukic is determined to have it up and running before the next elections. Here are his comments on the phone from Gatineau.
We are at the beginning. Nobody's questioning the fact that it's going to be tough, but I think it's worth it. I published an open letter to give the signal that it was time to go and to pass with another speed. I think even though organizationally it might be tough, I think that we can't give a free pass to this government anymore.
The rebirth of the NDPQ stems from a somber assessment of Quebec's political landscape, says Djukic.
The decision to create or not a Quebec NDP, for me, relies exclusively on an analysis of the current context in Quebec, and that context is that in French we use the word morosité. There's this kind of feeling that Quebec is going nowhere, that the debates are not moving us forward, that there's no project creating a consensus and building bridges and bringing people together. And there's also this lingering question of national unity where Quebecers are still polarized in a way that I think is not useful. And that was the idea that we need to shake up the political dynamic.
The new Quebec NDP will try to attract the federalist left-wing voters, a category that Djukic believes is stuck between a rock and a hard place with older parties.
In Quebec, we have a liberal party, Couillard, and with Charest before him. And when you look at it, they're not really liberals, are they? They are more conservatives. When we look at the austerity measures, cuts to health and education, we really sense so much arrogance from this government. And at the same time, I think that a lot of Quebecers are fed up with the constant polarization around the national question. A majority of Quebecers, it's pretty clear from the polls, are not sovereignists. They don't want another sovereignty referendum. Sadly, the PQ and others want to bring us in this direction. And what I was saying in the open letter was that among the unconditional federalist partisans of the status quo on one side and the unconditional sovereignists on the other side, we sometimes, the rest of the population kind of feels hostage, and we need to find ways to go beyond this debate. Not beyond it, but beyond how it's debated right now.
Although the NDPQ is just starting to define its policies, Djukic insists that their brand of federalism will be vastly different from Philippe Couillard's allegedly apathetic one.
What was happening with the Liberals, what I'm saying is that they have not put forward a vision. This is how we see federal-provincial relations. These are the issues we want to push forward. These are the issues on which we would like to work cooperatively with the other provinces, and these are the issues where maybe we'll be different. When I was working closely with Jack Layton some years ago, I worked very hard on what was to become the Sherbrooke Declaration, which talked about what do we mean by asymmetrical federalism? How can we recognize Quebec's national character, and how do we build also a cooperative federalism? And I want to bring that discussion also provincially. I'm not necessarily a partisan of the status quo, but I am a federalist, and I want Quebec to function well and be recognized within Canada.
The NDPQ means to challenge the Liberals and their conservative policies at the next elections. However, some worry that a new left-wing party will effectively help them by splitting the progressive vote. Here's what Pierre Ducasse has to say.
I've said repeatedly, we can't steal votes from other parties for one simple reason, because the vote, it belongs to the citizens. It doesn't belong to the parties. But it depends who you talk to. Some people think that we would divert support from QS mostly. Others think it would be at the Liberals' expense mostly. So there's a lot of theories out there, and frankly, the only way we'll know is to do it.
Mirna Djukic for Quebec Montreal.
Thanks, Mirna. So, I don't know, Quebec NDP, it's an interesting prospect.
Well, we had an NDP Quebec. Let's not forget that going back, it was probably about 15 or 20 years ago where they stopped it. And I think the problem back then, why it never really got off the ground, was it was sort of too much like a PQ light.
Huh. Yeah.
And I think that there was many radical elements that were involved in the NDP.
Paul Rose was the leader, right?
That's right, which right away, I don't think you can get much more radical than that. So it seems that this time there seems to be a thinking that, first of all, the NDP wants to have more of a foothold in Quebec, right? So in order to have a foothold, you need to be more active at all the levels, to have your organizers and everything. And on the more progressive side, QS is a party that promotes sovereignty. PQ promotes sovereignty. There seems to be a large gap between where the Liberal Party is and those two parties are, and I think the NDP is looking to fill a lot of that space.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, they're trying for this niche, which is left federalism, right? Because the left parties are all for independence.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get he actually, when I was talking with Pierre Ducasse, he used the phrase that we heard a lot, that a healthy Quebec who works well within a healthy Canada, right? Some variation of that.
I mean, I have a hard time thinking of the PQ as a left party, but you're right. Officially, they try to be, but
No. I'm just saying, the PQ in my book is center right, but there's no federal left. In Quebec, there's no federal left because the federal
left
is the Liberals, right?
Yeah. But do you think they'll take more votes away from QS or from the Liberals?
It's hard to say because I think people are getting really, really tired of the Liberals, so they have a very good chance of exploiting this at the next election.
I think there's many people who consider themselves very progressive who have vote for the Liberals because of the separation issue.
Yeah.
Right, because your other two options aren't. I mean, they're clearly for separation, and even QS, I think in past elections has sort of downplayed it, where we'll see afterwards together. But I think in the last election, François David was the leader, came out clearly, and Amir Kadir came out clearly saying, we want a constitution. The difference with us and the PQ is it'll be the people that. I mean, it's a bit of window dressing. So I think that the NDP is looking to take away those Liberals that say, all right, I need another option. The CAQ isn't an option for me.
Yeah.
CAQ is, although, François Legault, who I thought would be more on economic policy, seems to be playing the identity policy card, which is surprising.
Yeah.
So I think they're looking for that. And, if I look at just McLean where Amir Kadir gets elected, a lot of those people that elected Tom Mulcair 3-4 times now were voting QS.
Yeah.
Anglophones, I'm talking about, or soft sovereignists, or and I think those people are looking for an option. Is it going to be the NDP? It depends on what they put forward. I mean, if it's Paul Rose again, no.
No. Well, I mean, I remember last time, a number of times I've even voted QS because I can't stomach voting for the Liberals. I don't want to vote for the PQ. Last time I was fortunate, I actually had Alex Tyrrell of the Green Party running in the riding I lived in, and so I was able to vote Green. Of course, he didn't win, but it'd be nice to actually have a vote that could conceivably win. I mean, and actually be progressive. I think that the sovereignty federalism question has benefited the PQ as much as it's benefited the Liberals. Because people vote one way, it doesn't matter that both parties are corporate parties, that both parties are parties of austerity. It just matters that both one's federalist, one's sovereignist, and whatever side of that equation you fall on is where you vote. And I think that's allowed those. We've effectively given Quebec a two-party system that's dominated for 50 years, and it'd be nice to break that. But I don't know. Do you think the NDP can break it? Do you think this might work, or do you think it's just going to crowd the field anymore, and the Liberals are going to be in charge forever?
I think they have to look at the Montreal Island, right? And if I look at the last two provincial elections in Montreal, don't take the last one, take the one before that. Everything was geared up for the Liberals to lose. Charest was under fire with the Charbonneau Commission. The scandals were coming out all the time.
Yeah.
Alain Marois was in the streets with the red squares, banging the pots. Everything was geared up for the PQ to win the election and make a breakthrough in Montreal. Do you know how many seats changed in Montreal that election? One seat.
One seat.
And you know what seat it was? It was the seat that was held by Nicolas Girard. It's not Rosemount. It's the one right next to where Lisée gets elected.
Yeah.
And it went to François David. It
Yeah.
didn't even go like so. I think that the Montreal, which is very federalist.
Yeah.
I think that if the NDP wants a shot at being because you can't grow one election, it's going to take a few elections. They have to concentrate on where they were, where Alexandre Boulay-Ris gets elected, where Tom Mulcair gets elected, Hochelaga Maisonneuve, and they can actually, I think, be an alternative. But that would probably mean that QS would not grow.
It's either or, I guess. Yeah. And yeah, QS. I mean, this is like we were saying before that it's pretty much a make or break time for QS, right?
Well, they've run now 4 or 5 elections. Amir Kadir is very solid where he is. He's despite everything, despite his foot in the mouth gaffes at times, he's everywhere in that district. Nobody can take away how hard he works. I think he's pretty safe where he is. I think François David is safe where she is. Madame Massé, I think, is probably, she's been very active. I think she has a good shot. And they could probably grow either Hochelaga Maisonneuve, or they've always looked at Laurier Dorion as a possibility.
What about the Verdun by-election?
Verdun by-election is Liberal.
Is Liberal? Yeah. I
know a lot of people have hope for that, as they had in St. Henry, but it's going to take, I think, a big gaffe on the part of the Liberal candidate for them to lose that seat.
Verdun went federally and with the NDP. It was during the Orange Wave, but that was one of the ridings that I think that even before the Orange Wave, the party was thinking they might have won. Then they put a lot of resources there for Tyrone Benskin. But actually, now in Verdun, there was a story, I mentioned this earlier, about the PQ saying, "Hey, buddies in QS and Green Party, come merge with us and we'll beat the Liberals." And that's probably, I think we all agree, that's probably not going to happen.
No, well, I think it was really funny how strong QS was kind of passive-aggressive about it. Like, the second that Jean-François Lisée gave the call, like, to unite, like, I think 5 minutes after, they were doing a press release, like, yeah, we salute Jean-François Lisée, and that's never gonna happen, basically, so...
Yeah.
That's...
And speaking of Jean-François Lisée, he is the new leader of the PQ, and we're going to talk about him in our News Roundup segment.
News Roundup.
Those PQ supporters who hoped that the party would move away from identity politics were sorely disappointed. Jean-François Lisée is the new leader of the Parti Québécois.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the people who were hoping this would be an opportunity for PQ to have a new life, to get out of the old debate, are really disappointed.
I think that one of the things I found interesting was that when Jean-François Lisée ran last time, he failed miserably. Like, he didn't do very well, which was just a year ago, or a year and a half ago. Like, it wasn't that long ago. And this time around, he seemed to start very slow, but he built. And then he ended up, because the first polls had him like, 15, 20%, that little base. The interesting thing, again, for me is that if you look at the PQ, the last few leaders, I thought when André Beauclair was picked leader that it was the time for that generational switch in the party. And yet they went back to Marois after that. And after Marois, I said to myself, all right, maybe now's the time to, again, that generational switch, because Marois still comes from that old group, the Bernard Landry, even though she's younger, from the hardcore guys.
She was in Levesque's cabinet, right?
Yeah, at the end, yeah. Now the thing is that when PKP came in, that stopped everything because Lisée said it best. The PQ is having their PKP moment.
Yeah.
So PKP comes in. Let's try this. What was the knock against the PQ all these years? The business community didn't want separation. Here comes a guy who's worth somewhere around $1 billion, depending on the day, I guess. And he says, "Well, I want separation." So all of a sudden, it changes the whole dynamics. He leaves. You had Véronique Yvon, who's part of those younger Péquist leaders, Martin Ouellette, who also, and of course Cloutier, who did very well last time, so he would have been the automatic front runner. Their campaigns just kept dropping. I mean, Véronique Yvon got sick in all fairness, but I think her campaign was on the way down. Martin Ouellette at the end, I think she lost more respect out of the members than she had originally because she started to play the hardcore separatist, a bit identity politics, not so much as Lisée. So I'm really surprised. I really thought the PQ was ready to make that jump. Now, Lisée's there. Lisée has had a good first week. Let's give him that. He spoke in English, asking the English community as nobody. Is he sincere about it? I won't argue with that.
Is anyone in the PQ sincere about anything?
But at the same time, he seems to be. He seems to understand that for him to win, he's got to keep his base and take some of those people that are, what's the word he used? A cleansing of the Liberal Party. Like the Liberal Party, he wanted to insinuate the Liberal Party wasn't clean, that they were corrupt or morally corrupt party or something.
Yeah.
So I think he realizes he needs to win that. But it's going to be a tough road for him. The baggage on him is huge.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting also to see how his positions have to change and be more moderate now that he's in position. And he's already made some statements about, I think it was this morning or yesterday, about his positions on immigration issues, which were really polarizing not only in the population but also within the party, especially with Alexandre Cloutier. And he was talking about the comfort zone of the members of his party, and he was like, yeah, we will see something, try to accommodate everyone's comfort zone within the party.
Yeah, it's. I mean, he's basically. I think the PQ's been grasping at straws for a while, and they put in somebody. He had to reach out to the business community. They put in Pelado, but of course, Pelado is somebody who is only rich because he inherited a company from his father, and he actually was a worse businessman than his father. Same with Donald Trump, who was a much worse businessman than his father, and he's apparently not too popular with women these days. He was after our last podcast, he was caught on tape. Bragging about sexually assaulting women, and then women keep coming forward, and now he's gone full Breitbart. He's gone conspiracy theories. He's basically, I mean, is he losing it, or is this just a good strategy?
Strategy. I think the one thing with Donald Trump is that any political strategy you've seen in the last 30, 40, 50 years in U.S. politics, he's thrown it out the window. He is running his own campaign. And it was funny, but we saw this week when Paul Ryan finally said that's it, I've had it with you. And Paul Ryan, after Trump, is probably the senior most Republican, right?
Yeah.
Being the leader, the head of the House. And Trump tweeted right away, said, "Thank God the shackles are off."
Yeah.
And I think that's what everybody sort of says. We haven't seen the real Donald Trump yet.
Oh God,
there's more.
There's more.
Oh my God! Like what's going to happen? You know, people were even today. I was reading. Some people were tweeting that forget the third debate. We don't want another debate. Like this is embarrassing.
I think Hillary wants a third debate.
Well, I think Hillary wants also like Saturday Night Live third debate where it's like. Hillary, your turn to talk now. No. Give my 3 minutes to Donald. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's absurd what he's like. I mean, I think, honestly, like, this election, like, I think the one good redeeming quality it could have is that it actually is showing that some of the comments that Trump made are things that should not be normalized. And if he loses badly because of it, I think that is the biggest benefit of this election. That, well, other than the fact that he's not going to be president, but that he's those like bragging about assaulting women should never be normalized. And maybe it was in old business circles, but it never will. And I think that's like one of the most important things that could happen.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think as cynical maybe as it may appear, I don't think that even the sexual assault will change the minds of people. The people who disavoted this. Who tried to distance themselves from him after that, I don't think that it actually changed their mind about him, but they were thinking, oh, now it will reflect too badly.
Yeah, like they had no problem
on
when he
my
said about
image.
immigrants, about Muslims, but when he talked about assaulting white married women, that's when the Republican brass lost it. That was like a bridge too far for them, I think.
I mean, someone tweeted, and I don't remember who, but it was like really accurate. I think it was like people who are starting to be disgusted with Donald Trump right now. It's like getting to the 7th Harry Potter book and thinking, "Oh, Voldemort's the villain." Like, how didn't you get it sooner?
Yeah, no, it's at least in Canada, our politics are a lot more civil. I mean, Justin Trudeau talks a good game, but now he doesn't. He said outright he doesn't want to raise the minimum wage.
Well, that's I saw a hashtag which said something to the effect, join the line, and this is the line of broken promises that Justin Trudeau, let's not forget, he got elected on sunny ways, and things would change, and he made quite a few promises that things would be different. In some cases, we have to acknowledge that things are different. This isn't the Harper government.
Yeah.
There's a more openness. There's certainly a different perspective, the way the government operates. But, if you look at his first day there and, all of a sudden we're selling tanks to Saudi Arabia, and, they blatantly misled people because, they said, oh, it was already a done deal. No. We found the paperwork. The journalist found the paperwork afterwards. So you start with that. You have the $15 minimum wage. You add a lot of stuff on there, and all of a sudden you say to yourself, well, 1 second, it's the classic thing, right? When I'm in opposition, when I get elected, I'm going to do this, and then we get elected, well, things are worse than what I expected. I didn't realize it was that big a mess. But he's already committed to be going into deficit budgets. He's done that. How far he's going to go, I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think people have to look and say, we voted for this guy, and a lot of people voted for this guy to get rid of
Harper, which
Harper.
was needed. We had to get rid of Harper.
Which was needed. Even the Globe and Mail editorial, was first time I've ever seen that, where a Globe and Mail editorial says, "Vote for the party, but not for the leader." Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing that now probably in the U.S., but
Yeah.
but we have never seen that before. So I think now people are looking and saying, 1 second, what is this government actually going to do different than the one before? Other than the fact that he's got great hair, he looks great,
Oh, yeah.
and he's a rock star.
Yeah.
But he talks a great game. He talks really well. He has a really good selling speech. And it's interesting because there's the biggest union of federal workers,
PSAC came
federal
out against
employees that are starting like a campaign right now, and their slogan is "You said you'd be different." Like
Yes.
it exactly is this, and I think it's very telling. But it's not actually that new, the fact that they won't raise the minimum wage. When they were elected, they were like saying they probably wouldn't do it.
But there's a
And
push to do it now, and he's refusing it.
But if you go back here, there was internal discussion papers in July 2015. I got it here, and talking about raising the minimum wage. It says it is a blunt instrument that tends to benefit youth still living at home, as opposed with low-income families, and that basically it's not.
How condescending could he be? I mean, that's pretty.
But you got to understand, in some cities, and I know we're going through a process like that at our party, where there's a number of members who favor the minimum wage, including one candidate for the leadership, and we've spoken to a lot of small businesses. What effect it's going to have on small businesses, and you have to understand that in Quebec, the small business is so taxed right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The municipal government is consistently going after these small businesses to balance their budget. That $15, we have to understand, is going to have an effect. As much as I'm for it, and I think a lot of people are for it, whatever, we got to find a way in which we can help out those small businesses, compensate for the fact that it's going to cost a lot more money to run your business.
Yeah,
So,
But there's also like more 50% of people who are paid minimum wage
Yes.
work for big companies, work for Walmart, work for
Without a doubt.
McDonald's, which is a bit of a proof that when people say businesses lose money when they pay higher wages, that's not true, because obviously the small businesses have to get some help, but if it was true, big businesses wouldn't have so much success and so much profit while paying.
Yeah, I mean, McDonald's is still going to charge you. People are still going to buy hamburgers here. Like, the market is here. It's not like the jobs are going to go overseas for like service industry at McDonald's, because the customers are here. The burgers are still going to cost the same. Maybe the executives will take a bit of a cut for like larger corporations, and that's how it would be. And just one more little thing. Speaking of like Trudeau, you're right. He comes across as a rock star, but a real rock star was Gord Downie, still is. And I'm just gonna say I'm really impressed with what he's doing with his final moments. He's a secret path. It's about the residential schools, horrible blight on Canada, and he's telling the story of a boy who escaped a residential school and died on the way home, and he's making it a musical thing. And just the fact that he's using his last moments. He's the Tragically Hip is as Canadian in some minds as Tim Hortons in hockey, pretty much. And he's basically saying, no, Canada's not perfect. We have our problems, and let's shining a huge spotlight on this. And I think that's the way to use your celebrity well. I mean,
yeah, I think I was about to say exactly what that sometimes you see some celebrities and they use their George Clooney is another example when it came to issues like Darfur and he's not dying, but Gord Downie. I'm actually quite happy that he we know that it's sad. I saw the interview with Peter Mansbridge, which can bring tears to anybody's eyes. That he has to write his kids' names on his hands just to remember what his kids' names are. But he's using his final moments on a big issue, and he mentioned it at the concert too, right?
Yeah.
At the concert, he even said Justin Trudeau is here, Prime Minister, and I'm happy that he's adopted Indigenous people as or the schools and missing women as one of his pet projects, and he was adamant about that. Like, that's a big issue for him, and it's really, really good that he
exactly, and he's really, really invested in it. It's not one odd song. It's 10 poems which have been put in music, but he wrote 3 years ago before, and he met with the family of the boy. The boy, his name was Shani or Charlie Wenjack. And he met with their family. He's been there. He's been working on this. He's making an animated film also about it. Yeah. So it's really big project.
Yeah, he's incredible. Like, he was a hero of mine when I was a kid. I always adored the hip, but just to see what he does, it's amazing. It's inspirational. Looking forward to the future, on the political future in Montreal. We have an election coming up here in about a year, and one of the political parties, Projet Montreal, is looking for a new leader. Hannah Besseau has this report.
Projet Montreal is looking for a new leader. The official opposition in Montreal's City Hall has had an interim leader, Luc Ferrandez, since party co-founder and original leader Richard Bergeron left in 2013. So far, 3 candidates have signed up to fill the position permanently. Would-be applicants have until October to throw their hat in the ring. A new leader will be chosen at a special convention December 4th and will run against Mayor Denis Coderre in 2017.
Wow, it's exciting times for Projet Montreal. This is the first time Projet Montreal has ever picked a new leader, right?
Well, yeah, and not only that, but if you look historically in Montreal, there was a leadership race for the MCM when Jean Doré lost, and that's been about it. Usually... there's been other sort of semi-races, but, usually municipal politics is a party is formed around a person. Yeah. And that's how it works, right? But Projet Montréal, and like the MCM, was more of a grassroots movement. There was a leader who had formed the party who's no longer with the party. Yeah. So now there's the members that are going to get to decide on a new leader December 4th.
Yeah, and there's 3 candidates.
There's 3 candidates to date. The nominations are going to close in a week. There may be another 4th or 5th. Other people have picked up papers, but definitely 3 from inside. I haven't seen anybody else. It's in alphabetical order because, as I explained to you, I'm on the executive, and the executive is neutral on all these.
Yeah, so you can't have an opinion.
No, I'm not wearing a button for anybody.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I'm with her type of thing.
Yeah.
But it's Guillaume Lavoie, François Limoges. Guillaume Lavoie is the city councillor for Rosemount, the area around the Olympic Stadium. François Limoges is also in Rosemount. He's in the area of Little Italy. And Valérie Plante is the city councillor in downtown Ville-Marie and Saint-Marie, which is the east end of downtown. So all three of them are running. Out of the three, Guillaume Lavoie and Valérie Plante was their first time elected in 2013. François Limoges was elected in 2009.
Yeah. But Valérie Plante, you said, is that the area that Richard Bergeron was also
Richard Bergeron was in the one next to her going west. She beat Louise Arel in that area.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean, I guess it's you're right.
It's the poorest area in Montreal, by the way, statistically, Saint-Marie, in terms of salary. Even though now there's obviously St. Catherine and some condos going around that area, statistically, Saint-Marie has I think the poorest in terms of salary in Montreal.
Oh,
You said you might be expecting other candidates, but if I'm not mistaken, they delayed the deadline, right?
The deadline was delayed from the 15th to the 22nd.
And they also like
One of the stipulations. You see, one thing you have to remember is that we've never gone through this exercise. So we put in some rules in place, and then some people came up to us and said, "Listen, this rule might be," and it was a small rule. What the rule basically said was that you had to have been a member of Projet Montréal before September 4th, 90 days before the election. We waived that rule. Basically, if you want to run, and you're more than welcome to run, tomorrow morning you can take out a membership card. There are other conditions to being a member. To being a leadership candidate, you must raise 200 signatures. There's a deposit and some other stuff. But what we wanted to at that time, because we were discussions with another party too, and some other people, was that there seems to be opposition forces to Coderre, and there's some good people that do some good work at City Hall, and we wanted to open up the race to them too. And we felt that we weren't that. It wasn't going to be just a race between us. We wanted more people involved, and it didn't work out. But if you read from Justin McIntyre, the leader of Vrai Changement, she changed her mind at the last minute. But she's committed to working with us and sitting down with us and finding a common ground to go into the next election as a unified front.
Oh, so it's going to be one party. It's not going to
look, we're talking.
Yeah, we're talking. Okay.
We're talking. It may be one party, it may be a unified front, non-competitive, different things. But the idea is that Denis Coderre got elected with 32% of the vote last time. Splitting up the opposition vote is not a good idea.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at.
Also, Denis Coderre is extremely unpopular, I believe. The impression I'm getting right now. These days?
Right now with Flushgate, BLS, the Kalesh, P6, he keeps losing in court. I see here there's a little stump in front of me. That could be one of the stumps from
on Mount Royal?
From Mount Royal,
I hate those things.
There's the projects that are coming up for the 375th. Up to date, there are 7 projects, which I just remember of, that are supposed to be for Montreal's birthday next year, which will not be ready for Montreal's birthday next year. And we're not talking about small projects. We're talking about projects in the millions of dollars. So it's basically like having a birthday party and saying, oh, by the way, the gifts will be delivered to you before your next birthday party.
Isn't the whole point to bring tourists here for the 350th?
When the MCM had the 350th birthday party, when Jean Doré was mayor, they did a few projects, and this has been our argument all along, is we want projects that will remain. It's not just for that one time thing. And if you look at the MCM, they did the Biodome back then, which was the old, they created, and it's been a huge success, I think, for people to visit. The expansion of the museum, something which everybody uses. The library. So these are the type of projects. Like, we're getting a lot of projects that Denis Coderre is and his party are greenlighting, and yet we're not seeing the long-term value to the city.
The national anthem for RDP?
That's right.
That's Montreal doesn't even have an anthem. Maybe create a song for Montreal. I don't know, but
and then you got like $40 million lights on the bridge, which I think is actually a beautiful project, but that price tag is a little ridiculous, right?
Yeah, and the trees don't even look good. The fake trees on the mountain, it makes it look uglier.
Yeah.
Like if you want to put art, but you want sit on real trees or sit on a bench, don't sit on fake trees. Like,
they were supposed to fix the middle of Place Jacques Cartier, and then finally the bids came in and they were horrible, so it's gone. So we put all these business people in Place Jacques Cartier in uncertainty, right? Because they're now looking and saying, one, you're going to do construction, which is going to kill me, which is
Yeah.
going to hurt me a lot. And two, when you do it, we don't want this. You want this. This is not practical. And their biggest argument is the way, the terraces are in the middle and the people
Yeah.
walk. So now all of a sudden, they're not even going to do it. But we'll do it, but we'll do it for 2018. So
Yeah, but that idea of putting the terrace in the middle like they wanted to do on Place Jacques-Cartier, I've worked there, and all the restaurants were saying, like, how is he gonna do this? He didn't think about it, he didn't talk to anybody, because it wasn't even possible, because you want the waiter to cross the street to go from the kitchen to, it just wasn't.
they showed a place, and I've seen this in Greece where I've gone, where you actually cross, but the difference is that Place Jacques-Cartier is a small area, right? So if you've worked there and you go there on a Thursday or Friday, Saturday night in the summer, or Sunday afternoon, I can't cross the street. I can't cross from here to where we are in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So imagine now a waiter
Exactly.
going across
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense for where it's going. That it exists elsewhere, I get it. It exists elsewhere. If it was a bigger place, longer place, yeah, it could work. But Jacques Cartier, plus don't forget the slope, the cobblestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he just doesn't plan. Is that possible? He just doesn't think things through.
I think one of his problems is he's got the same kind of attitude as Régis Labaume, which is, I decided we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it. And he doesn't want to hear about anyone else's opinion. And with some people, this attitude is actually popular because they think, oh, at least he gets things done.
Yeah, like he has the jackhammer to the mail community mailbox.
When he first got elected, I did an interview with CBC the other day, and we were talking about this. And I said, when he first got elected, we have to remember the bar was set so low. We just had a mayor who went to jail, and then Blanchard had taken over for 3-4 months. And in fairness to him, he had done just a job to smooth us into the election. But Tremblay before that, for the last couple of years, I mean, the guy was on life support over there. He was waiting for the allegations to come out. So he gets elected, and he uses the style exactly you said. Like, he gets in the first day, I'm going to do this, and everybody said, whoa, finally some action. Yeah, well, some action, because we haven't had anything done in 3 years. So he got off to that start, but when the time came for the tough decisions, and we saw this with the Kalesh issue, he took a improvised decision. They went to court. They beat him. P6 improvised decision, went to court.
Well, it was P6 was also Tremblay too, though.
Right, but he
kept it going. Yeah,
he kept it going. Well, don't forget, half his team is Tremblay.
Yeah. It's the continuation of Tremblay. Yeah.
And now you see it with the Pitbull thing, right? Everybody, the experts are telling him it doesn't work.
Cyndi Lauper doesn't like him.
Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
Even Will Wheaton from Star Trek doesn't like it.
I normally I'd say shut up Wesley, but in this case I don't think I'll say shut up Wesley. But I mean, elections aren't the only thing happening in Montreal. We actually have a lot of great shows. So here's Hannah with the community calendar.
October 20th to October 31st, Radio Without Borders, CKT's funding drive kicks off. CKT's 28th annual funding drive is an 11-day-long live fundraising campaign essential to CKT's annual operating budget. It's a celebration of all the accomplishments, efforts, and hopes that are at the core of CKT's social justice-oriented mandate. The staff, volunteers, programmers together organize special programming and events to bring their friends, family, and communities to support and honor the importance of alternative media. The fundraiser brings out a lot of events which you can check out at Facebook. And one of these events is Feminist Seeks Feminist, this Saturday from 6 to 9 at NDQ. Are you looking for new co-conspirators to smash the patriarchy? Feminist radio producers at CKT seeking all like-minded revolutionaries in Montreal for feminist speed plotting. Meet us at NDQ on Saturday night, October 22nd at 6 p.m. October 26th to November 1st, the Student Society McGill University is hosting Boycott Divestment Sanctions at McGill. Come learn about the BDS movement, what it is, where it came from, and what it looked like at McGill. Times vary, and you can check this out also on their Facebook page. And one of these events is Palestinian Cultural Night, October 28th to October 29th. The SPHR is proud to present the Palestinian Cultural Night of the year. You can look forward to a night of Palestinian food, music, and performances, including poetry, spoken word, and live music. That's October 28th, 6:30 at the Smooth Southside Cafe. And finally, Saturday, October 29, Beetroot presents BIPOC Food, Craft, and Healing Market. The event will feature food, jewelry, natural bath and body products, herbal tea blends, natural cosmetics, and more. You can check that out Saturday, October 29, 2 p.m. at 3285 St. Jacques.
And now, predictions.
Predictions!
Donald Trump will wear a red sweater at the next debate.
I predict that the NDPQ will jump on the $15 wage.
I predict that the Projet Montreal leadership debate, which is happening on the 30th of October, will have a very special guest asking questions, but none other than Ken Bone.
Donald Rumsfeld today endorsed Hillary Clinton. To counter that, I mean, we have Chachi that endorsed Trump. I expect the rest of the Happy Days cast to endorse Trump this week.
And I predict that at the Projet Montréal debate, the first one on the 30th of October, nobody's going to complain about microphones.
And I predict that I'm going to watch the Star Wars Rogue One trailer a few more times because that movie looks awesome. So thanks to Jimmy and Mirna. Projet Montreal debate is on the 30th of October. And also you have a chance to actually get Gord Downey's new album, which should be out by the time this podcast is on the air. So thanks, guys, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks.
The FTB podcast by the Forget the Box Media Collective in Montreal was hosted by Jason C. McLean and produced by Hannah Besseau. For daily, unique, original content covering news, music, politics, arts, lifestyles, food, film, you name it, we've got it. Check out Forget